All right. We are officially live from the area code 713. If you know me, we'll go ahead and that'll be for a later point with adding that to the stream. Let me go ahead and do a mic check 1, 2, make sure the audio is coming in. Yes, we're good to rock and roll. So trust everyone had a fantastic week as we roll into this is the last week of 2021. And I still have all of my what? Okay, there we go. And I'll share that at a later point. But is that I cannot believe we are already at the end of 2021, and I still say for some reason my what do you call that perception of time has been completely thrown off. I was speaking with my bookkeeper. This was this past week, and I kept saying I meant for her to reconcile 2021, but I kept saying 2020 for some odd reason. So everyone who is jumping in here, go ahead and comment below. I would love to hear from you. And today's topic is going to be pulling lists from the database Reonomy. One thing is, I'm not affiliated with this platform, so I want to go ahead and make that disclaimer. I am just a user myself and just sharing tools with you that I use personally to be able to find deals out there, especially in today's environment that we're in. But there's still an abundance of opportunity that is out there. So go ahead and comment below. Don't be shy. And as you're coming in here, like the stream, you guys, like the content. It takes less than a second and it really goes a long way. And if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button as well. Appreciate you all. And I've said it multiple times. And any way I can be of assistance and value to you, do not ever hesitate to reach out. And you're just now coming across me. I would go into my background, but many of you are familiar with my background. So started in real estate 2009. And on the construction side, I was a laborer. And then shortly after that, shifted to investing, where I bought my very first property at 23 years old, bought 150 single families, and then started buying multifamily in 2017. First deal was a 46 unit, and then ended up scaling from there to just under 500 units. And if you want more on that, here's a book I actually wrote on my journey, because I get the similar questions quite a bit. So I went ahead and wrote a book on it. And there will be a link below where actually, let me go ahead and just pull that link up for you. Let me see if it comes up easily. Nope. Right, and I will go ahead and drop that for you. .com. There we go. And yeah, so here will be a link to the book for everyone to be able to get that. Let me see if I can put that up on is that a banner? Or yeah, here we go. This is where you would be able to get the book. I think there's an easier way to go about that, and I will also put that in the comments section too for you all to be able to have that. There we go. And I will highlight it. There we go. So that is where you get the book right there. And it really just goes into my trials and tribulations as a human being on this earth. And then also what being an entrepreneur, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And I go the good, the bad, as well as the ugly, and share my mistakes. And that way you can avoid those pitfalls and potholes. Because I'm a firm believer, and I say this over and over, because it's really what do you call that? I've embodied the philosophy is that yes, it's good to learn from your own mistakes, but a wise person always learns from others. And when I share, so there's that. And so there, right. So let's go ahead and shift over to just rolling into so we got a comment there. All right, perfect. So as mentioned, welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and go into a overview on 2022 or 2021. What I have 2022 here. Let me go ahead and edit that for you all. See, I just mentioned this earlier that my perception of time is pretty much off. But I don't even know what day it is half the time. But yeah, so just some overall for myself, just taking a step back and seeing what was accomplished. And that's one of the things I had to do, because I felt, was I able to accomplish things from this year? And because I'm one of those people that's pretty hard on myself, where if someone were to rate, someone the other day said, how would you rate yourself as a team player? And I said a C, C minus C, or my skill sets, because I'm a firm believer there is so much improvement to go, even where I'm at this stage. And from that is that if I want to look back a year from now on the previous year and cringe at the things I do because I've experienced that much growth. I look at my content from a year ago and I actually do cringe at it and say, man, there's so much improvement and you improve so much from that standpoint. And that's how I'm constantly on this journey, because I'm not a perfect human being, you guys. And just to share that, I'm not an angel. And but from that is I like to be as transparent as I can with the things I've experienced in my life as well. That way you can further understand me as an individual, because I'm very similar to you. So, all right, let's go ahead and just go into looking back in 2021 for myself. And then we'll go into pulling lists in Reonomy and jump right into it. First and foremost is change my life viewpoint and taking on additional philosophies, more so on the side of realism and stoicism. And it is seeing the world for what it is and not what I wish it to be. So that is first and foremost. And you can take that in so many different directions, but it's just, looking at the world for what it is. And the good and the bad, the ugly, and just understanding that as an example, that if someone does something to you that is they're looking out in their best interest, and someone's best interest is not necessarily in your best interest. So from that is just not taking things personal. And if something happens, such as I've got a scheduled call with someone, and what I always do is that if I'm not able to make a call, or let's say an appointment, let's say a doctor's appointment, whatever it happens to be that I've scheduled, I will call that person and say, "Hey, I'm not able to make it," just to make the best use of that person's time and just not show up. However, other people just don't live their ways of lives of being courteous in that. So that's just a prime example of that. Some people just are just going to be people and just being accepting of that. Second is moved across the country from Indianapolis to here now, Houston, Texas, which actually was a big move. And I didn't realize how big of a move it was until I was actually speaking with my coach on this. So a while back, that that was a big move from the case that after everything happened, I was like, why does my energy feel so sucked down? And I believe I may have went into some form of depression, whatever it was. And what I realized was that that was not something easy. I went completely out of my comfort zone, somewhere where I don't know very many people, only a handful of people I know of, but we're not very close with. So that was a really big jump from that. And so, yeah, that's what I would say is the next one. The second is traveling quite a bit. One of the places I went to was Cartagena and Medellin, Colombia. And I'll go ahead and show that to you, just some of the experiences out here in Colombia. Interesting. So I would like for y'all to comment below if you believe I look like a Mike Tyson. Let's go ahead and pull this up and see if that's the case. What is this? View StreamYard? No, that's not going to work the way I thought it was going to work. But yeah, go ahead and comment below if you believe that is the case. Let's go ahead and pull up Mike Tyson. I do not see it. Possibly if I were to get a, what do you call that? Tattoo on the side of my face, that may change. I do not see it. All right, that's just myself personally on that. Who knows? You may have a different viewpoint when it comes to that. Other things that happen is started investing and learning into the crypto space. It has really just opened up my whole world of just the technology that is there. No, I'm not invested in any meme coins like Dogecoin. There's some other ones. I'm actually in the ones like Ethereum, for instance. There's ones outside of that as well where there's actually a use case underneath it. But yeah, since I've gone and dabbled, not even dabbled into it, but really gone down the rabbit holes, is I can see where that is going to go and all of the disruption that is going to be involved in that. One, not pushing anyone to invest in crypto. Be sure to do your own research and everything. But I can see why people who are into the Bitcoins and all those different cryptos are really like avid to it, because I can see exactly the how this will start to play into the future. And then additionally is went full cycle on two properties, one being here, which is Buck Ridge at Southport. Many of you are familiar with this property. Let's go ahead and just pull up. So it's an 80 unit. This was bought in 2018 for just over for $3.35 million, and just sold it for just over $5 million, and had a great return to our investors on that one. Oops. Okay. And then the next here is Dunwoody Court Apartments. And this was an 80 unit that was acquired about a year and a half ago, and did a complete full cycle on both of these properties from going direct to owner. Both of these were direct, started with the cold call, and then from there got under contract, did the due diligence on it, started raising money to then buy the property, and then managed to then acquire it, execute on the business plan, which was putting in renovations, increasing the rents, which ultimately increases the value of the asset, and then selling it. So it was quite the year. There's more, I'm sure, to that, but those are just some points that I was able to go back in my Rolodex and say that, okay, well, Sterling, were able to accomplish some things this year, and also some other revenue targets I was able to hit as well. So that's one thing, is constantly looking to improve. And even when I do good things, is I look at, okay, I could actually be able to do those better. It's like a vicious cycle. I don't know if that's good, bad, whatever the case is. All right. So let's go ahead and go into now pooling lists using Reonomy. So your first question may be, what in the heck is Reonomy? So Reonomy is, I mean, it's multiple things, but it's a commercial database. What they've got here, let's see, how does Reonomy? So this is by their definition, is the commercial real estate. So it has in-depth property details and analysis of commercial properties across the U.S. So you can get anything from a property's unit count, when it was sold, where it's located, its lot size, who's the owner of the property. So you get all this data from this particular database. And just what I want to touch on again is that I'm not affiliated with this platform by any means. I personally use it myself. By you going to sign up, I don't get any kickback. There's no affiliate link or anything that is that's going to be in the stream. So I have to go back to that. And so let's go ahead and show some additional screen share here, so you'll be able to see it. So this is the platform Reonomy that you see there. And do I want to put myself over here, or do I want to put myself over here? I'll put myself here. And so let's go into pooling lists, and you can pool just about anything across the country, the US, on the commercial side. And commercial is considered everything over 5 units. And depending on who you speak with, is they would consider, I've spoke with another larger developer who he owns 200, 300, 400 unit apartment complexes, and he considers them residential, which it is residential, but technically it's actually commercial because it's over 5 units. So that's just one of those things when it comes to the terminology in the industry. But this is how you will pool properties. This is one way, and this is one thing that I always mention as a caveat with pooling lists. There is no black and white, meaning that depending on the filter that you use, there will be properties that fall through the cracks, because I haven't found any database that has every single property in itself, and all the data is 100% accurate. And so another competitor to Reonomy is actually CoStar, and CoStar is these are the two go-to uh, databases when it comes to pulling commercial property information. And I had a rep sitting across from me. Actually, this was when I own Buckridge at Southport here. Where is the office? Let me see if I can pull the office up. Probably not able to pull the office here, but the I met with the a co-star rep because was looking to use that particular platform to do the outreach because I go direct to owner. And we were sitting in the office, and I said, "Could you pull the owner information on this property that we're currently in?" And they had the property from a year, the owner from a year ago, because we had purchased the prop. We had purchased it since then. They didn't have me or Jacob as the owners on there as being our contact information. I said, please don't add our contact information. But that just goes to show you there is no black and white with it. So I always have to make that caveat because commonly people are just always looking for shortcuts. So there's no black and white. And then there's ways on you can create multiple lists to catch the properties that were not in the original search. I'll give you a prime example. So when you do a filter of, let's say, apartments between 20 to 50 units, there's some properties that Reonomy has classified for whatever reason through their their not skip tracing, but just going out there to get the information that it may be classified as a 4-unit property. So from that is if it's classified as a 4-unit, in actuality, I've seen this, a 4-unit apartment classified in Reonomy or even CoStar is actually 100+ unit apartment complex. So that just goes to show you that there's no catch-all particular filter that you have. So this is one of the secrets that I came up with, or I wouldn't even say that I came up with, but that I ended up just going above and beyond to, because I don't want to miss any properties, because those are the ones that are the actual gems that people tend to look over because they take the more so lazier approach. Let me go ahead and charge my laptop. Because they take the approach and just going with, oh, well, I want to pull apartments between 20 to 50 units, and that will be the only filter that they use. However, not realizing that these data providers is that their data is not 100% accurate all the time. It's if I were to give a rating, 80 to about 90% of it is actually correct, and I would say it's difficult to get 100% of their data correct because sometimes some properties sell and they're just not able to properly update it. All these different variety of things. So that is what Reonomy is in a nutshell. All right, there we go. Hopefully my mic wasn't unplugged that whole time. I don't think so, but let me go ahead and check this. Make sure. Testing, testing. All right, perfect. All right, so the next point that I want to go into is pulling lists in this particular database. And those of you, as mentioned, is go ahead and like the go ahead and like the video, as well as subscribe if you already are not subscribed, because there's tons of additional content that really am dropping. Especially for 2022, going to be kicking things off. I just want to say 2020 TWO, like George W. Bush. No, I'm not into politics, by the way. I just like saying George W. Bush. I don't even know where I heard that from, but I digress. So let's go ahead and start pulling a list here. And we'll go ahead and just I'll put myself here, or let's keep it larger. There we go. We'll do this one right here. I keep going back and forth. But let's use, all right, so you want to start with your property type. That's the first and foremost. So we'll start with property type, which is going to be multifamily. So you've got all these other ones. You got industrial, you got office buildings. So these are all considered commercial. You got restaurants, you got mixed use, you got hospitality. It looks like they've got commercial general. So we will go ahead and just go to multifamily. There's that. And then you want to go to, because these are all the properties across the country. Now you want to go to size. So this is one filter that you can use as mentioned, is it's not black and white because there's some properties that are classified that are a 4 unit. In actuality, it may be a 35 unit. So we'll go here. We'll type in total number of units. Then we'll go into other filters that you can use. So we'll say apply here. All right, and then we'll add more filters. So this is understanding your criteria as well, because myself is target mom and pop owners that have on this particular one. This is an example, but more so target apartments between 75 to 160 units. But you want to understand what your buying criteria is because you can start to filter it down versus taking the shotgun approach. Now you can actually take the sniper approach. So going back to this is you got your multifamily, you've got your number of units, additional filters, additional filters that you would be able to add here, owner. You can be able to narrow it down to company type or to a person, especially if they have it in their personal name. You've got to target them because that's not the most if it's an LLC, that it's if someone has in their personal name, it's likely that they're mom and pop in that case, because someone who's more sophisticated will actually put in a entity. So we've got the property type, and then we'll go ahead and go to sales. I like to have the solds not sold within the past 5 years from that, because most of these properties on the commercial side have loans, and if they sell it, and some loans are again different, so you can do. I've done 3 years before, and then also I've gone back and forth between 3 to 5 years. Buckridge at Southport, that property was bought 2.5 years after the owner had owned it. But that is a very anomaly case for that to happen. But it does happen. So you have to assess is it worth targeting those properties with, now you have a lower chance, because with an owner selling a property after a couple years, is there's a prepayment penalty on the actual sale of the property. So that's what you have to consider. Many owners say, well, I wish I could sell the property to you, or I would like to sell the property to you, but it doesn't make sense on the numbers because of the prepayment penalty on the loan. That it just doesn't make sense for me to sell you the property. So that's, you can do 3 years or you can do 5 years. I've done both. And then so you got the sales, you got the unit count, and then also you want to understand what is myself is I target C class property and as well as B. But let's say we're using C property in this example, that you would have between pre 1970. Let's go ahead and go here to the filter. Right, and building lot, is it this one? Year built, perfect. So you would want to have until 1970. Let's see if we can type this in. All right, perfect. And then you want to have the actual location too. Let's go ahead and see if we can easily type that in. So let's say sugar, let's say Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas. All right, perfect. So we've got all these filters here that are in, as you can see, the amount of properties is 144. So we've got the filters of multifamily, built up to 1970. So we're targeting C class properties, the unit count between 20 to 50. And then also it hasn't sold in the past 5 years, and it is located in Houston, Texas. And there's additional filters. There's is it in an opportunity zone? Okay, you can also go into, and this is another one that I like as well, is that you can target if the owner, how many properties do they actually own? Is this their own only property, or are they a larger corporation, they have multiple properties? So you can actually filter out, okay, well, I don't want to target more so people that own multiple properties. I want to target someone who only owns a few, and it's likely for them to sell to me direct versus selling to what is it, listing it on the through a broker on the market, because they're a little bit more savvy and sophisticated from that. So this is one list that you'll be able to leverage. And let's go ahead and see what our results look like here. You can see the map. Let's go ahead and zoom in. And any questions that you guys happen to have, go ahead and drop those below. And here's the information that you can see. And it's not always 100% correct. However, majority of the time, the owner information likely is correct, meaning is the specific entity, but the contact information oftentimes is a little bit outdated and not correct. Yes. And we've got go ahead and read some chats here. So we've got Tam, I had them, but it was expensive. Well, it's all relative is of what is expensive compared to. So that's one thing, Tam, is that let's say on Buckridge at Southport is closing that deal. I mean, the acquisition fee alone ended up paying for the software itself 2, 3, 4. I mean, that's just the acquisition fee that was on the front end on that, or let's say Remington on Rockville, and that doesn't even include the cash flow that comes from the property each and every month, and then also selling the property. So it's all relative on what expensive is. It's not cheap, I would say. I believe it's around about $399 per month. I wasn't doing any. So she got here. I wasn't doing any deals. I was trying them out. Yes. So in that case, if you're not doing any deals, it can add up very fast if you don't have profit coming in to be able to be able to pay for the software itself. And CoStar is actually even more expensive than Reonomy. One thing that you can do as a hack is I've got people in the community that I work with and I put together is it's free for them to have access to Reonomy. But as I was starting, is that I ended up just finding someone on Bigger Pockets, and they just ended up giving me access to it. You can pay them half of whatever it is. The thing is that if you're committed enough, you will find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. And I'm not saying that towards you on this, Tam, but is that if it's too expensive for some people, is I end up just finding someone, as I mentioned on Bigger Pockets, and said, "Hey, I'll pay you for half of what I'll pay you half of the subscription." He said, "No, you're good, Sterling. I actually knew this person, and I still have access to it to this day." And shout out to you, Spencer. So, Buddy Threes, do you know of a way to find this information publicly without paying for a subscription? Or is this the most efficient or best way? So, this is a great question. And this goes into mindset. So, this is what I've learned. Rich and wealthy people buy time. So with that, buddy, this is all public information that is here. However, is if you go through your public records, and let me see if I can pull this up so if you go through your public records, it's going to be a pain for you to be able to do that. I know in Indianapolis, for instance, Houston may be a little bit different, but is the directories more so are not set up for someone to be able to search these type of properties of this nature, meaning that the county, let's say Marion County, does not set up their database for someone to target apartments between 20 to 50 units, for instance. And yeah, here we go. It's public, but to find the owners can be painful. That is correct. So essentially, and that's why you've got data providers such as Reonomy, why it's a little, or CoStar, why it's a little bit more what you would say, and again, it's relative, expensive, is because you're basically buying time. You've got all of this in one place. Yes, you can go to and I haven't found a provider that is free. There may be someone out there that has this data, but it doesn't make sense for them to be able to. It's like, I don't see how the model would work if they were able to do it free. There may be something out there for that. I don't think there is, but someone comment below and correct me if I'm wrong on that. But the other alternative, yes, you could go through the public records. Let's say Marion County, for instance, that's in Indianapolis, and you can do the search through that, but it's not optimized for you to be able to find properties such as using the filters that I just showed everyone just a little bit earlier. So yeah, great question on that, buddy, and that commonly does come up. And there's also, if this is on the commercial side, there's other providers on the residential side that are more affordable. Not free, but more affordable. Another one is you've got. I'll go ahead and put this below. And as I alluded to, I'm not affiliated with any of these providers, so I don't get any kickback. Listsource.com is another one. So I just put a couple in the chat there that you can look into. There's propstream.com. There's listsource.com. There are several that are out there. Those are the common ones, and that's on the residential side. Also, ListSource can be used on the commercial, but it doesn't have the interface that is such as what you see here through ListSource. It's more of you put the data in and it comes up, but you don't see all of this here. You basically just extract the data, then you're able to comb through it, but it still is not as robust as you see here. All right, and answer a few questions here. Get to the chats. Do you have a code I could use that gives you a credit for me to sign up? No, I do not. I'm not affiliated with any of these. So that at some point I may do some type of code or some partnership with them, but now I don't have anything. It's likely you may be able to Google and it come up. I don't. Yeah. So, do you do coaching on going after 20 to 30 units? I would say, Tim, I've got plenty of content on the actual channel that does go into targeting 20 to 30 units. And I do strategy sessions as well for those that are more further along in their journey to where maybe they already have some rental properties, some single family, they want to go to multifamily, or that they're in smaller multifamily and they want to be able to scale from there. So I do offer some assistance with helping people along that. Let me see if I can pull the strategy session link up. All right. Okay. Yes. So this will be all right. So pulling this up for you, I'm going to go ahead and put that on a comment so you'll be able to have that. So this is a link to be able to do sign up for that strategy session there. And I didn't even realize I got my screen all pulled up and everything. All right, so let me go ahead and do this. Strategies. Okay, perfect. All right, and let's go ahead and go back to the screen share. And all right, so the next point I was going to go into is that this is the data that you'll be able to see, and just using this particular search. So it's Houston, Texas, and let's see what this would look like. So we're just going to go to this property here. It is a total. It's built in 1940. It's where's the units? So it's a total of 20 units here. And then let's go to the owner, and you could see the sales when it was sold. So it was last sold. This was just recently, so November of this year, and you can see who the owner actually is, the reported owner. And this can oftentimes be incorrect, and that Reonomy, for instance, is that they will oftentimes have the actual person's contact information here. They may not. So it's pretty much hit or miss. And then you would take this that you see here. You've got Jimmy Parsher. And let's see if copy name. Let's see if you can. Okay, no, that won't be it. But then you can take this and you can skip trace to a database such as truepeoplesearch.com. So let's go ahead and track this person down. All right. Copy name. And then here we go. So you can go somewhere like truepeoplesearch.com. Let me move some things over here. And then do this. And let's say Houston. He may not live here in Houston, Texas, though. But let's use this. All right. So here we go. And everything is lining up. And this is what I call detective mode here, which is perfect. So you've got it looks like he may live here in one of the units, but and he may not actually be the owner. But this is where you're going into the detective mode and skip tracing. I did a whole video on that separate in itself. You can just hear my wheels spinning with, okay, who is this? Okay, do they live at the property, and they're the actual owner? But we'll just keep it very basic level, to where I typed in his information here and just made assumption that he's here in Texas, and boom, use truepeoplesearch.com. And this is a free provider, that's not provider, a free service. But when it comes to free, you guys, if you're not aware of this, is that you get what you pay for, versus the paid version. So this data, using this to skip trace, can be much more hit or miss. So that's one thing that you have to assess versus going with a paid service. There's been verified as one that's out there. There's other ones too. So that's just doing some skip tracing and then finding out his information. And then the next step would be just to reach out to him. Right. And we've got here from Tim. I use PropStream, but Reonomy gives you more on commercial side. Correct. Thank you for the links. Yes, for sure. And yes, and let's go ahead and go to another property here, so you'll be able to see some more information. Let's go to, I mean, and this looks like a larger corporation here, where, yeah, it looks like they own 10 total properties. This particular entity that owns this property. And as you can see, as we're scrolling through here, is all of this is what I like to look at too. This is another gem, is look at who is signed on to the actual mortgage. That in itself, because you can have, and I just one example I like to go back to is myself as a GP general partner and the owner putting a deal together, is that both myself and Jacob, us as the GPs, we were on the actual loan itself. So I like to use myself as a data reference when going through here. So if you can find who the actual person is that signed on to the mortgage, that's good. Another caveat is that the partners could have got this person as a KP, which is a key principal, to just sign on to the loan, but that's likely an anomaly case. But we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We'll just keep it very simple. We'll just go the path that, okay, the person signed on to the mortgage is the one of the decision makers, and you can see other people that are associated with the property. This says co-founder and partner, and here's their multiple contacts. So you've got an address in which you can send direct mail, or maybe do a personal visit, depending on how big your cojones are, for lack of a better words. And then you've got your contact information, and usually there's multiple, and you have to call multiple. First one, you may get a hit from that and get them directly. You may not. And then you've got their emails here, and then you've got other parties that you can go through as well. This is a larger corporation. I shy away from these because it's likely it's a higher probability they're more sophisticated, especially by them owning 10 properties, that they'll say, why would I sell direct to you where I could just list this on the market? Let me squeeze this here. We don't need all that. I could just, instead of selling it to you, I'll just go ahead and list it with the broker and get top dollar on market. So I shy away from companies that own multiple properties, especially this amount. And yeah, so you would find out who the owner is, of which, as we see here, we've got the person who signed on to the mortgage, we've got a co-founder, and then just proceed to reach out to them, just like that. So this is one filter that we've had set up, and just going back to it, is property is multifamily, built 1970, unit size this, not sold past 5 years, and then is here in Houston, Texas. But this is one of the things, is that with this particular filter is, let's go to and this is the little secret I'm giving to you guys that most people do overlook, is let's go ahead and, all right. So this says the properties that, and this is just one example. There's other examples too of properties falling through the cracks. One that I mentioned, that it could be a 4-unit property, but in actuality, it's a 22 units, so it actually should be in this filter, but for whatever reason Reonomy was not able to pick it up. And then the second here in this particular filter is that we have properties that have not sold, excuse me, in the past 5 years. However, another thing is that with Reonomy is that there's some properties where, for whatever reason, there is no sell date. Yeah, and that, yeah, for whatever reason, there is no sell date. So that did not show up in this list here. So what I will do is I will just, and this is just going above and beyond what others will not do. So I will go ahead and remove this, and then you've got the last, you'll go ahead and go just to the last page. And then as you'll see here, there's some properties. Let's go to the last page now. You saw me do that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, now we'll go to the last page. See, here's all the properties that do not have a sell date whatsoever. For whatever reason, Reonomy just was not able to pick it up. So these are the ones that fall through the cracks and are the actual gems. And it's the same case with, and that another thing that you can do for the properties that are not okay, that are that should be in 20 to 50 units, is I like to filter by lot size as a way to get those, because you can have a property that is 4 units, but you click on it, you're like, that is a massive 4 unit property. So from that, not a lot size but building size, and you'll be like, that is a massive 4 unit property, and that's because it's actually, let's say, a 30 unit, for instance, or maybe even a 200 unit. Things like that do happen. So that's what I want to go to in doing the search. And if you want to do by the lot size and building size, for instance, you'll just simply be able to go here to here, lot size, and you got the yeah, you got the lot size, you got the building area. So these are additional ways that you can be able to use to pull. And how you would be able to pull this is just look at all the other properties that you have in your original search and just look at. So you see here, the building area is roughly the minimum, as we see, is about, I mean, this one's about 3,000. So it's a square foot, but this is likely a very small. Let's go ahead and click on it. So this, and yeah, this is a single family house. So yeah, you get these that just fall through the cracks, or maybe it's like a duplex or something. But see, you see here, and this is a perfect example here. This says this is a 50 unit apartment complex. This is a 50 unit. There's no way you can fit 50 units right there unless you build up. There's no way. Let's go ahead and Google this. Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. And see, this is not 50 units. This little thing, if this is 50 units, if is that the right one? 30, what address were we looking at? 304. So it's likely this one. Either way, none of these are not a, oh, let's see. So what's going on here is, and this is exactly what does happen. This is, I'm just taking a assumption here that all of this is the same so it's just one piece of the property, and this is just me using a assumption here, which oftentimes when you're going through this data you have to make some assumptions that all of this property is actually together, and they just put one under 50 units. And when you click on it, as you see here, it's just looking, but no, but this is not that building that's to the, okay, so that is not the case. So yeah, this is just incorrect altogether, because this is not a 50 unit. That's right there. All right. And so that's on pulling and using multiple ways, is that you just have to, what I've experienced, go above and beyond, and just know that these data providers are not 100% accurate. And the information, such as what I mentioned earlier, is that when you pull properties that haven't been sold in the past 5 years, is that through this data provider, and it's happened with other ones that I've it's with other ones that I've seen, is that it does not include the ones that have no sell date whatsoever. For whatever reason, it just did not. It just did not register through Reonomy. So those are gems there that it could have been a property that sold way, 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 way back when, and they just haven't been able to update the data because they have a lot of information in here. So it's bound some things to actually get missed. So that's the biggest secret I would want to provide to people, because they automatically just assume that all this data that's in here, I wouldn't say they would say all the data, but they'll just go type in, okay, I want all the apartments, 20 to 50 units. That'll be it. That'll be the only list that I pull. No, that's not the case. There's some that fall through the cracks there. And then the last but not least, what you will do is the outreach, which that's a whole nother stream in itself, to where you've now got the owner's contact information, and now that you got their contact information, whether that is their direct mobile number or their one of their numbers, the next is a email, or you've got, what else outside of that? Email, or you've got their residence or an address. You can send direct mail, you can do text blast, you can do email blast, or myself is I just simply pick up the phone and then just reach out to them. So that is what we have for today, everyone. Going to go ahead and enjoy the remaining that we have of 2021. I appreciate you all so much. And what I'll do is where is that? So for those of you who just want further insights on how to scale your business and just want a more guidance on the next direction to go, is there's that link that you see there, and I'll go ahead and put it below to do a strategy session where it's anywhere between about 30 to 45 minutes, where take a deep dive into your business, then from there provide you an action plan on the next steps. So I appreciate everyone so much. And yes, you just got this at the end, Rico, but there is the replay that you can catch. I do these live streams every Friday, the same time, 12 p.m. Central Time. Last week was 4 p.m., but ever since before that, we do it at 12 p.m. is consistently what we want to be on. So I appreciate everyone so much. Let's roll into 2020 TWO, working towards becoming the strongest version of self. Yes, there's some things that are going on in the outside world that are just, it is what it is how I like to say it. And always have the mindset that whatever goes on out there, it's going to happen. But what I can do, I can't control any of that. But what I can control is myself, how I react to that, and where I go in life. Doesn't matter what the government does, what policies they push down, is that I have to figure out a way to adapt versus complaining and having the victim mindset. Because yes, I just growing up where I came from, Section 8 housing, single mother, fraternal twin brother, was it food stamps, welfare, government assistance, all these different things, and almost losing my life at 5 years old, as I was dealt what people would say, you call that lemons, but decided to turn into lemonade. And I had a conversation with the guy recently. He's a fellow entrepreneur, just absolutely crushing it. We're talking about multifamily investments and all these different things. And I told him about my background, and he said, "Yeah, you were in lower income." And I didn't even think, yeah, I mean, yes, I was in lower income, but you just never realize the type of environment that you're in when you're a kid. It's just, you're a kid. Seeing the things that I saw as a kid, I actually, now looking back on that, it was not the best of the environment. But instead of complaining about it, I decided to make something of my life and just not be another statistic. And I share all that in this book here, From 0 to 400 Units, and where it's free. All you have to do is just pay for the shipping, of course. And yeah, because we all have a story at the end of the day. So why not make it a success story? So appreciate you. Thank you so much. Keep being awesome.